that does not mean he is bad. He managed to make the Quake World Finals. He was there. I don't think he made it out of group stages, unfortunately, but he was there.
If memory serves me correctly, he was in Rafa and Cooler's group, though, which is not making it out of that group.
Yeah, it was quite tough.
It's definitely not something to be ashamed of when you've got the likes of Cooler and Rafa in the same group as you. It's only going to be so difficult to pull that one through. But the champion selection makes a lot of sense. We did see wichtL go with this lineup first. Karwick, is he likely to go with Anarchy as a final pick, or has he got a variable? So he's gone Ranger as well. I think we've seen a sort of like an even mix of Anarchy and Ranger. We're seeing a little bit more Ranger get picked now since Denver. I know that could just be we just so happen to be seeing the guys that have been playing Ranger and they just so happen to be on stream today. But I feel like we're starting to see this champion get used a little bit more, and you can understand why. I think he fits still superbly well, and it's nice to see people going with him again.
I mean, case in point, we just saw some amazing plays and a lot of... I think it's the Dire Orb. The Dire Orb is single-handedly one of the most entertaining things to watch in this entire game, I think. Because when you get a good Dire Orb, it's a good Dire Orb. And it's on such a short cooldown, and I think that means you get to see a lot of it. You get a lot of practice if you're playing with Ranger, especially in some of these more extended games, right? Some of these rounds go like sort of upwards of like 7 or 8 minutes. On a 20-second cooldown, with access to like power-ups that make that cooldown lower, you get a lot of opportunities to use it. But I think that's quite interesting and exciting about it. However, this has been a lineup we've seen quite a lot, I think, so far today. The rise of Doomslayer has been really important and popular. Anarchy and Nyx, I mean, they have been top tier since day one, I really think. I can't think a version of the game where Anarchy, at the very least, hasn't been like a core pick. Nyx, very much of the same. Ranger seems to be favoured among certain players. Even then, we've seen some players, with some still run Sorlag, some may have tried Clutch here and there, map dependent. I think there's a lot of possibilities, and obviously Slash is still one we've seen, which I'm actually quite maybe expected to see her on Blood Covenant, but not at the moment.
So here we go. This is our losers bracket action, Karwick versus wichtL. And with this being the final qualifier, when you're in the losers bracket, things get quite stressful. I mean, especially if you're... This isn't a qualification game. You're playing for the chance to get closer to the qualification game. So it's still very much plenty of work to do. Yeah, I mean, whoever wins this series, we are likely to see them again later on, further in this losers bracket. So it'll be nice to see, get a little bit of information over how these guys seem to sort of approach the losers bracket first. Obviously, just to remind everyone again, we did see wichtL defeat Evil in the losers bracket a few hours ago. But that's not the only top player that wichtL has been able to defeat at some point, though, in Quake Champions. He has quite an impressive scalp collection at this point, even going into QWC, so I'm happy to see him still playing. Obviously, a very different champion lineup than we saw him last time, but Karwick is going to take the first blood in this round and take out that first Anarchy. And now wichtL put on this Doomslayer already, less than a minute into the round. So I like the QuakeCon LG as well. Big fan of that. We saw wichtL at QuakeCon, it was nice to see him there. Of course, he really worked to get there too. Like, he had a really good showing, especially at regionals as well. Like, he thoroughly earned his spot because he was just in a very difficult group, if memory serves. But still, he's still playing, still doing well. But losers side, well, he was one of the Clutch players as well.
Oh yeah,
but this was before Clutch was like, meta and picked up by basically everyone. wichtL was one of those kind of like, I suppose, premier headlining Clutch players, I suppose, ones that really used him first before it became a meta, I suppose, quote-unquote meta thing to do. To the point that I wonder if, we'll ever see these players bring out these champions again. wichtL, as he was such a, he was known as such a Clutch player that it makes you wonder, like, surely he still has knowledge on how to use that champion, who has still got a place. Obviously, I know we saw him in Sacrifice a little bit, but still.
Was chasing it.
Maybe he's chasing this one down, but yeah, tries to keep himself out of harm's way while at the same time trying to sort of position himself. But I mean, that's the Berserk. Unfortunately, a little bit stuck, and he gets the frag. That could have gone pear-shaped. He kind of missed a couple of those lunges because even though the lock-on's been improved, if you get a bit too far away, sometimes it doesn't always connect the way you think it should do. But improved, but it's not guaranteed, right? You still have to aim it. You still have to be in the right sort of area, looking in the right direction. But still, that was a really good turnaround for wichtL, considering Nyx without a Ghost Walk is a very squishy target. Those punches doing 75 each. Nice quick mid-air rail, but Karwick has been knocked to safety. He's going to get out of that one. There's the defensive tri-bolt. Tri-bolt's gone through quite a few changes in Quake Champions in general.
It has indeed. I mean, it's had its moments, it has had its time. Nice quick back-to-back rails. Visual's chasing this. No, doesn't look like he wants to chase it too hard
Well,
yet.
I think if he wants to chase it, I like the idea that he's sticking to the high ground instead. I think sort of jumping down by the stairs would have been a complete death sentence. So he's trying to sort of maintain that pressure. You can see the hesitance when both players are playing Doomslayer. They're waiting for that double jump. It makes him second guess pulling that trigger on that rocket. But I think that's why the double jump is so effective. Because not only can you sort of prevent the splash damage from being as effective against you, but if they're looking to land that direct or they're looking to land the highest damage rocket, they need to patiently wait for you to land and then pick their shot. At any point, you could just pop that double jump. You know, so if they're waiting for you to pop double jump so they can then land a high damaging rocket, if you don't double jump at all, then, you know, it's almost like a complete mind game in effect. Oh, hang on. Speaking of which, there's that prediction rocket knowing he's likely to be there, but there's a nice quick mid there. Karwick is going to get that frag. wichtL got a little bit too close for comfort there. And I think ate a direct for his troubles and now put on his final champion. Karwick is looking to take this first round at this rate. We are down to that 1 minute warning. You just heard it yourself, but Karwick needs to simply survive a little bit longer here. Winning to champion limit is a very common thing we see all the time. Oh no, missed. That could have been huge. Oh, he has a machine gun too. That is not the right weapon for the job. wichtL kind of starved for equipment right now, knowing that he himself is one rail away from death. Just going to sponge a little bit of it, but not much. Oh, he's waiting for it. Karwick, he's going to land. Only 10 health remaining. Using that jump pad was so risky, I find. I don't think, realistically, there was no way Karwick was going to miss that shot. One of those wichtL, but both Mega and Heavy are up, but we know Karwick hasn't gone for them yet. Just picked up the Mega health, but I think he was just waiting for wichtL to go for one of them, seeing how low he was. Yep, he's just going to play this runaway game, survive for 5 seconds. Even if he eats a rail here, he can take one more. I don't even think it's possible. And that's going to be it. Round number 1 going to Karwick. Thanks for the timeout. I mean, that was played well. He got that early frag, let him really dictate the rest of the round as always, as usual. But still, I think getting that first frag off wichtL is important because he's a player that has just, like you've been saying, has had a really good day today, let alone, and is getting very close to that qualification, and you want to stop that kind of momentum, especially when he's taken out someone like you. Although, LG, we have the same start again. wichtL's opted to go for Anarchy first, which he has done consistently today. Been good for wichtL though, in a very quick sequence, has been able to pick up a lot of those weapons already. That Ghost Walk pop immediately. So he can catch Karwick now. He does have all the weapons he needs to deal with it. And he got the Mega too. That was actually a really good first minute for wichtL. So they can quickly go pear shape now, looking for it. There we go! Nice quick air shot from wichtL into a Mega health pickup too. And the Heavy Armor's going to be up, but we're going to know Karwick is quite close to it. Quite a fortunate spawn. Less so much for weapons though, only has access to a nail gun right now. That's actually going to be a danger when you've got an Anarchy with this much rocket ammunition and you have extremely limited weaponry. That said, I know obviously because Anarchy hasn't got the hugest stack in the game, if he eats a couple of nails it actually does hurt him a little bit more than other champions, but... Oh, Karwick doubled back, still that double jump, trying to get him out, but there we are, Karwick getting a nice rocket kill immediately of his own. Yeah, he was Mega health and the Heavy Armor's up too. He was kind of stuck right there, getting stuck in the injection animation. If you take a huge significant rocket or something like that, and you're stuck in the animation, unable to fight back, there really is only so much you can do. wichtL has a rocket and a rail right now, so he has got a nice amount of weapons here to deal with it, but again, Karwick has been quite awkward to see so far. These angles just quite haven't been that kind to wichtL at the moment. Ooh, that was a really nice shot too. 66 damage, a nice respectable chunk. At least getting rid of most of the armor of Karwick. Forced to pick up a little smaller pickup anyway, so wichtL has a little bit of advantage on the stack. Does he take the fight? Quite sure. I think whoever hits this first rail is going to be able to chase this if they want to. No, neither player connects at all. They both miss two back to back. It's a very unfortunate sequence of misses actually. Because I have no doubt that if wichtL landed that sort of airborne rail, he probably would have tried to chase that down there. Doesn't want to take any of those risks. Way better to just fight for the Mega instead. If he's going to be down there, he's not really going to be able to fight for it. Take a rail and then pick up the Mega, so that's going to be worth it all day. Very passive play coming out of both of these guys at the moment. Tremendously defensive.
think a big part of it is down to the amount of misses, though, because to be honest, both players are, and this happened earlier on, both players missing a lot of rails, but like important rails to just delete some of that stack. Because even if a rail doesn't kill, you want it to connect because you want to undo some of that work, you want to undo some of that armor and that health. And even that kind of situation, if Karwick had a rail on him, that would have been a dead wichtL. He didn't have any armor, he had less than 80 health, that would have been dead 100%, but he just didn't get the shot. Which makes you wonder if the players just don't have the same level of confidence when they miss those kind of shots.
wichtL's just trying to get a little bit of information, but it looks like Karwick has the same idea.
Thing is, neither player can really afford to push it too much. I mean, they're even on champions so far. This seems to be a common thing today, Doomslayer and Doomslayer kind of being really passive, waiting for that final frag.
wichtL's not going to want to collect the rockets. He doesn't want to give that information to Karwick. Doesn't want to let him know where he is. There we go. Just wait for that one moment.
Oh, good shot there.
Big damage. You're likely to secure a kill here unless Karwick gets some really good rockets. And I actually love that little sequence right there. Karwick staying alive, landing that grounded rocket, knocking him into the air, guaranteeing follow-up rail. Very nice shot.
But I think this right here is a problem with being so passive when you're kind of evened out and you're looking dead even with your opponent. The more time you spend being even, the closer you get to that sudden death timer. And if you then lose a champion, you're then massively behind. Like in this situation, oh no, that is going to be another frag. Karwick taking another round, going up 2-0. But again, you know, both players had that kind of like 3-minute exchange with that Doomslayer where nothing happened. So as soon as wichtL lost his Doomslayer, all of a sudden he had a minute left on the clock to do anything with.
3, 2, 1.
Well, we could have a potential 3-0 right here for Karwick. This would be a fantastic start going into the second map. Yeah, just to remind some of you guys, this is losers bracket action. You know, if this series goes in the favor of one of these guys, obviously they'll be moving on, but whoever loses this series is out of the tournament, and because this is the last week, out of Quake champions for DreamHack Winter. You know, out for good. This is the last chance.
I think there's a lot more pressure this week than we've been really letting on. You know, this is the final chance to qualify for these players in Europe and North America. This is losers bracket. The safety net's gone. Like before, where you get knocked down to losers, this is the last chance. Still though, Karwick 2-0. We've already seen 3-0 round comebacks today. wichtL has to do it now or not at all.
But I feel like these players know what's on the line, and I think that's going to cause, that might cause some of these misses, that might cause some of these rails to not quite connect. wichtL, he's piling in face first, he's betting the farm on this push.
I mean, Karwick doesn't have a ghost walk, he can go for this, but still himself. wichtL, 7 health left. He gets hit by anything, but another rail will do it.
Not sure I agree with turning back round there. I don't think that was the best idea. Right on wichtL, he went for the health, realised I'm not going to go for the health because it's too predictable, tried to sort of turn around, and pretty much turned around into what could only have been a guaranteed rail there from Karwick. I would like to have seen him try to escape a bit more in that situation.
He did get the ghost walk out of Karwick at the very least, and he's got him. There we go, quick direct. wichtL deletes Karwick from existence and picks up the mega health. Really nice turnaround. wichtL now, even though they are even on champions, is thoroughly in the driver's seat. Heavy arm going to be up
nice
soon
shot
as well. Oh, but he's chasing this.
As you chase it down though, you do have to be careful. We did see that with Pikawa in our previous series. You know, you get that one situation where you feel like you are in that advantageous situation, so you try and push it, and then bam, you know, one rocket and you're dead.
Indeed. However, rails from this distance, this has been that kind of classic exchange point from rockets over to armor here. Mega health going the way of Karwick. And just like that, wichtL's actually kind of lost control of the stack. So they're missing a few. wichtL takes some damage there. And again, that hesitation, waiting for that double jump, but wichtL managing to pick up a little bit of health, but doesn't have any armor. Heavy armor will do the job of getting some of that back. A considerable amount, I should say. Nice shot to Karwick, who falls down.
And he actually might be punished. Ooh. Punished with a frag for that one.
He is chasing him. You can afford to chase this. Has to be careful not to run into a direct. Berserk mode goes out. And Karwick commits suicide. Even if he didn't, that punch would have done enough. Really good turnaround from wichtL and Karwick now. 1 minute, 20 seconds left.
Yeah, he was dead either way.
No, 2 minutes, 20 seconds left. If my maths is bad.
If that punch didn't connect, then, you know, the rocket was going to seal it regardless of what
We'd actually seen neither player use Berserk for so long, I kind of forgot they had it. Like, we just didn't see it at any point for so long. But Karwick, so low now. Can't afford to do much of anything. The dire orb is back. Is he going to use it to get the rail, it seems? No, not quite.
Now, this is a very tricky situation to be in. Just look at how much of a deficit Karwick is currently facing in terms of his stack in general, but now he has a lot of work to do. He's got just under 2 minutes to get it done.
Oh, he doesn't have any rails, I see. Well, he was going towards that, but gonna try and get some of those back. It's the first place he'll go to. Ooh, takes a little bit of damage, so at least Karwick knows he's up there. So though Karwick needs to get a shot now. Ooh, Dirob. It's just like it doesn't connect. Karwick needs to take out this Doomslayer sooner rather than later. The time is going to be ticking down if he's going to want to win this 3-0. And not let wichtL start making that momentum of a comeback like we saw earlier on.
Well, another problem's going to be if you sort of allow Doomslayer to stay in control. You know, if he controls the Mega, if he controls the Heavy. Obviously, he's not doing both right now, which is really good for Karwick to make sure that he at least has some form of control. But wow, no, he bet so far into the Dirob. Actually, he's likely to lose that round, and he does. Bets everything on the Telefrag. I think he understands if it's Doomslayer and he's got full health and he's got heavy armor, he's going to be unbelievably hard to kill. If I get my Telefrag, I can probably undo all that work and then start making my comeback. He bet the farm on it and it didn't work out.
I think sometimes you just have to make that kind of prediction, though, or that kind of play, I suppose, you know, where it's like, right, if I miss this, I'm dead. If I hit it, we're evened out, you know, and if it's a situation where you weigh it out and you're very unlikely to win the 1v1 without it, I mean, you may as well, especially when you have rounds to work with. The problem is, if Karwick now can't bring this momentum back, he's going to struggle, because wichtL now has that 1 round to the 2. So the wichtL is low. Oh, he just had that rail not ever so slightly not connect. Oh, that one will, though. wichtL now very low. Oof! That one just grazing by. Still around though. wichtL went back, but Karwick wasn't ready for it.
Yeah, still the first time.
Oh, and he missed another rail. Karwick is choking a few of these shots up, unfortunately.
That's definitely not the first time we've seen wichtL actually stay around as well. He's done it a couple of times, and unfortunately these rails failed to connect. He's landing one here and there, but it's never enough to actually finish the job.
I mean, it's easy for us to turn around and say these rails being inconsistent, but we have to remember, it is an Anarchy moving at top speed. Like, he is not an easy target to hit at all. Oh, very nice ghost walk from Karwick. That would have been a direct into death for sure. Oh, and a little bit of self-damage from wichtL. This is what he needs, but Karwick himself very low. Anything at all is going to take out Karwick now. As he runs away, they're trying to heal back up. That is going to allow a Heavy to be uncontested. wichtL's going to pick this one up without being challenged. I assume Karwick will get the Mega. Yeah, he is there. No armor. Make this 1v1 difficult. wichtL goes in for it. He knows he has the Heavy. A lot of damage. Ghost walk is a back yet, nice. And a wonderful turnaround from wichtL. Getting that nice big damage, and Karwick now put onto Doomslayer again. But 3 champions to 2. wichtL is now winning again in the round.
Looking for a couple more rails, lands the first, but unfortunately the other 2 failing to connect means there's going to be a little bit of unchallenged damage. Karwick now still staying nice and healthy. He can actually challenge and contest this Heavy. Especially if he lands those kind of rails, forcing the injection out. wichtL, he's going to be running away temporarily, but that injection is going to be down for a significant amount of time, and Karwick's definitely going to be aware of that.
Still though, the injection did let him get full health and heavy armor, so not a bad turn of events for wichtL. Oh, big direct into the chase. Karwick trying to get away. That double jump coming through, being so good at dodging these rockets. And wichtL now, after being so heavily stacked up, has lost all of it immediately.
The second I saw those rockets flying, I got a little bit worried for wichtL with his health. If one of those sort of hit its mark, and we might have been seeing a dead Anarchy, but Karwick's consistently landing these rails, but he's not landing enough rails that result in an actual death, right? If you leave an Anarchy alive with 10 HP, within a few seconds he's moving so quickly, you can get those little small health bubbles. It's like you didn't land any damage to him at all.
It depends how you can chase him down, but it's easier said than done against Anarchy. Quick mid air, but he's still going to get that one for sure, but has to be careful. He himself shot away from death, and as you were saying, you know, this is the kind of speed he can go, just like that, health and an armor, and now all of a sudden he's not going to die to a rail anymore.
Another nice rail, but seeing as it's Doomslayer, you've got a lot more to do. Tries to pop the injection. Karwick has an answer for that one. If you've got no armor, then that injection's only going to do so much to keep you alive from a rail.
Does mean Karwick is back to 1 frag away potentially from winning the first map now. You have to remember, he is 2-1 up at the moment. Was 2-0, but wichtL managed to make it work really well. But Karwick held on to that Berserk. wichtL forced to use his a little bit early. So if Karwick could start 1v1 now, he has more health, he has more armor. He obviously has that Berserk too, but does he know that? can see the patience, the caution from wichtL. Cannot afford to make any mistakes now.
Well, he needs to be until he can get the rocket and the rail on deck. The issue of not having either of those two weapons means that he actually hasn't got the two weapons you need for that solid advantage. wichtL's been hitting some really impressive long-distance rails, and it's kind of allowed him to sort of press the advantage on Karwick, but not having a rocket launcher either. He has just been able to collect one. And there's the rail. So he's nice and sorted out now. But I think that's why he had to be really careful before he collected them. Because if he's railable at a distance, he can't really fight back until he collected one of his own.
Still though, this is what we're looking at. Ooh, quick rail, but I mean, this is a deceptively tanky champion. One back in, making these shots count. Oh, Karwick in a bad situation here. Both of them are almost identical on health. And Karwick into the heavy armor. That's a beautiful turnaround for him, and wichtL left trying to pick up the scraps of what's left down here.
Unlikely to sit around the Mega too long because it's a few seconds away from actually spawning. We have 8 seconds left and it's going to go into sudden death. So this round is going to come down to Doomslayer versus Doomslayer, and that's going to be that.
Oh no, that miss.
I was actually surprised to see that rail miss.
I mean, wichtL, if there's one kind of rail he hasn't been missing so far, it's the ones off those jump pads, it's the ones off the rockets. Like, those ones where, I don't want to say it's guaranteed, but it is a lot easier to hit. He has had a really good ratio of making sure he nails them at least. Oh, has to be careful now. Karwick making that one shot count. All the health in the world. Sudden death now.
Unfortunately though, all the health in the world will be swiftly undone by 2 rails until you get some armor. wichtL popping his berserk to try to escape. Again, as long as he's being forced away, it's kind of allowing Karwick to start taking some of that control back. You know, if they're too weak to fight, they're too weak to sit around one of those items, you're going to collect it for free. It's just going to keep your lead up. It then allows you to fight for the next item. You know, if you've got a bunch of mega, you can then fight for heavy and vice versa. And that's exactly what Karwick's been able to do now. He's been able to take the heavy armor. Now, no doubt he's going to be looking to try and seize the mega, which is his next objective, trying to keep wichtL behind.
He's just trying to keep him away, you know. He wants to know he can safely pick it up without taking damage, but just like that, wichtL, I mean, that was a bit of a, you know, just go for it, why not shot. He has plenty of rails to work with at the moment. That's quite a lot of ammo, to be honest. 20 rockets, plenty of LG, plenty of rails. And in sudden death, where literally all you need is one frag, that should be plenty. Means you can stop off on, or hold off, I suppose, on picking up the ammo, try not to make too much noise.
That's one thing with the heavy that I really like with wichtL too. And actually, I know Zook pointed that out too, where when he goes in for the heavy armor with the rocket, he rocket boosts himself before collecting it. So in the middle of his early stages of the rocket jump, he collects the heavy to sort of like maximize how much of the heavy armor he keeps. It's like a little bit of optimization, but I think it's quite impressive to see.
I mean, it's just little things like that, right? You know, making the most out of your champion choice, making the most out of everything, little piece of health we can. How many times have we seen someone survive with, like, you know, barely any armor, you know, single-digit amounts of health, where those little optimizations would have made the world of difference earlier on. There we go. I mean, we see the berserk popped. I mean, again, neither player really decided to use that a little bit earlier on, and wichtL just using it to collect some power-ups. I guess that just means he's happy playing this long game, doesn't want to fight, but doesn't need to. Mega health is going to do wonders here too, especially if he gets armor after. Again, both players just avoiding confrontation.
Yeah, he caught him on the pillar when he had the rocket launcher out too. And we do consistently see that's quite an easy rail for a lot of players, but unfortunately wichtL just didn't have the weapon out.
That berserk already coming back soon though, that's important. Especially if we start this fight and Karwick caught down there. I mean, you can see how awkward it is to hit those rockets on someone. Double jump, and there we go. That's exactly the kind of frag that wichtL needs. Waits for Karwick to use the jump pad a single time, and now are we seeing another 3-round comeback back-to-back in 2 different series?
The problem is, when you're in losers bracket action and you just need 1 round to seal the deal, then we've seen players historically have a bit of a hard time finishing things. And we've seen it at LAN, we've seen it online. It just seems that that final round is in many ways the hardest round to actually get. Still going full speed. Oh, looks like that could have been a direct, but somehow manages to miss. Actually, it could have been for both players there, to be honest. Surprised to actually see neither of them get hit by a direct there.
Oh, that speed going up. Oh no, hits the wall, but to stop to that. Still though, mega health and heavy armor will be up soon. wichtL taking this fight, full speed ahead. Oh no, misses the shot. Karwick would have been dead for sure. He doesn't have Ghost Walk. He's so low, and there is the shot that wichtL needs, and he's going to take that one down immediately. To heavy armor 2. Now wichtL went down the first 2 rounds relatively, and again, is that the kind of rocket jump you're talking about? There's that optimization where he's rocket jumping before he collects the heavy. Just trying to make sure he maximizes how much of it he's got, but... Karwick's rocket jump attempt before he got fragged, but I kind of feel like he had to do it because he didn't want to get... He was going to eat a rail and die anyway from that distance. I think his best bet was, if I rocket jump and collect a mega, I'll stay alive just long enough to maybe fight back. And that was the decision he had to make. But wichtL has a good start. 1 champion up already. He's historically lost his Anarchy quite quickly on this map in the past, but not at least this time. I mean, I guess it is the final round. You have to make sure I don't make those mistakes. There's the injection, but he is still low. Doesn't have any armor. Has some now. Now he can survive a rail. But does Karwick even have access to one at the moment? He does have the heavy armor. Oof, big damage. But Karwick still tanky. Trying to land in midair. That is an unfortunate fight for wichtL. He landed so many crucial shots, but Karwick was just too tanky and sponged all of it. Another shot down, undoing all that armor progress. wichtL's rails have been on point. They've been a real saving grace keeping him in these fights. Unfortunately though, he does need to be careful. One wayward rocket at this HP will be curtains. Oh, very nearly. But Karwick on the other hand is missing a lot of these important rails, unfortunately. Just hasn't quite worked out in the same way for him. Yeah, there's no getting around the fact that... There's no getting around the fact that I think wichtL's just general aim has been better in this map. It's definitely got better, at the very least, over the course of the map. But now Karwick left on this dire orbless Ranger. This is not a good situation to be in. He's caught him off a spawn too, so he knows he's not going to have as many weapons as he wants. He tried to use the pummel as well. He sent himself towards the rail, and then he tried to use the pummel. Didn't work out. Almost seemed like, I wonder why he went for that decision. Maybe he expected Anarchy to be a bit weaker going in for the rail there. wichtL's rail has been a huge part of keeping him alive. With 3 rails left, he does need to replenish that sooner rather than later. We would have seen that damage at least. Oh, he's down there. This is a bad situation for Karwick to be in. He doesn't have dire orb either. There's the jump pad. Doesn't go for the rail this time. wichtL not as confident in the switch. Oh, that was close. Both players. Next though, Karwick. Heavy armor too. This is important for wichtL. I mean, oh no! He messed up the jump and doesn't get the heavy armor. That's the first time I've ever seen him mess that up. You see, now it's been pointed out. Stage fright. Maybe, but... Oh, big damage though, 100. Yeah. Not looking bad at all. Only 1 minute away until sudden death, so... I think wichtL just plays for that at this point. I think he just tries to keep Karwick so low that he can't afford to ever fight. I mean, every ounce of advantage is going to wichtL here. You know, he's landing those rails, he's keeping Karwick behind. Even if he's not securing a frag in these kind of situations, Karwick is so weak he's not able to actually challenge any of those pickups with, you know, because if he's taking all this damage and wichtL's rail is superb in this series, that is not a good combination to be dealing with. wichtL popping that injection just to try and get away at full speed. Ooh, has to be really careful. 3 health left. Anything at this point will kill him. He's got to watch out. He has to watch out. Karwick lands 1 frag. Now, is this actually possible to come back at this point? You see, he's waiting this respawn. He's making it last as long as possible. He is so close to the timeout. 20 seconds left to go. Remember, the Ghost Walk is going to sponge up about, I mean, was it 3 seconds? 3 or 4 seconds? There's the base shift. There it is. Ghost Walk popped. That should be it. If he catches 1 direct rocket, maybe. He's chasing it down. 1 second. Oh! I mean, at any point, I was ready for a rail to just appear. At any point there. But wichtL, props to him 100%. I mean, from 2 rounds down to 3 in a row. I mean, I wish that was the first time I'd said that today, but it's not, and it probably won't be the last if this keeps going on. But wichtL, I mean, composure. You know, what else can you say about it? This is loser's bracket. Went down 2 rounds swiftly, but able to get 3 in a row to bring that comeback, I think was really important. And moving into the rest of the maps, very cool.
It's a lot of momentum to ride when you're in loser's bracket. You know, when you pull off a map that impressive and you make a comeback that impressive going into the next map, I think you can be feeling good about that one. But on the flip side, if you essentially let a map sort of slip through your fingers and a comeback like that happens against you, I feel like that can be quite a taxing thing on your mentality when you're now the player that is a map down. So we'll find out what the map choice is going to be. I'd be interested to see if we see any champion changes or whether these guys are going to stick with what they know. But I feel there's no getting around the fact that, so yeah, Blood Run is our next map from what I can see here. But there's no getting around the fact that wichtL's rail was really on point. I think that was one of the most defining things about that map for him, though, was he got a lot more comfortable as the map went on. Like, early on, he just was missing a lot of those important shots. He was running into a lot of rockets or situations that maybe he should be a bit more careful. But the further it went on, those rails started to get absolutely insane. And like I said before, the rails that you definitely shouldn't miss, at least those he was like consistent hitting. But then the later the game went on, he was hitting them sort of a little bit more in the sort of the neutral state when they're sort of dancing around each other at that range. But Blood Run is going to be that next map. And Blood Run, I mean, it's not the first time I've seen it today. I doubt it will be the last. And the same lineup going to be locked in for both players, it seems. And again, not really a big surprise at all. We've reached that point that players, like, they're getting used to a team of 3 champions that they'll pick no matter what. I kind of feel like the stage of picking for the map specifically all the time is definitely a ship that has sailed by now. For now, I suppose. I think that there are still some players out there that that play multiple champions, and they do like having a somewhat flexible pick on some of these maps. I actually remember chatting to Kilston, and he mentioned before Denver that when the champions had changed around and the LG was different, he actually wasn't sure. He had so many champions and knew how to play, he wasn't really sure on what ones he wanted to decide with. Actually ended up going back to his classic of Anarchy, Nyx, and Sorlag. You know, so out of all these champions people know, sometimes they just go back to what they know and are the most familiar with. But I feel like it's nice to see that wichtL, he's on top of his accuracy being really strong, I feel like his Anarchy is a real headache from what we've seen so far. And Anarchy in general is a really popular character in this game for good reason. I mean, I'm just happy to see him doing so well with a team of champions that, I mean, isn't Clutch. Because Clutch, I mean, not to say there's anything wrong with Clutch. I personally really enjoy watching Clutch generally. Especially in Sacrifice, because seeing how diverse he can be in that mode in comparison still. But wichtL really was known as like a premier Clutch player back in the early days of the Quake World Championships for Quake Champions. So the fact that he's doing so well without Clutch, I think, is really good for him. Nice start for Karwick, though. 2 rails, needs to land 1 more. Unfortunately, can't get the final shot, so wichtL survives to fight another day, and there's that prediction. Rocket Karwick runs face first to shore. Yep, I agree with that one. Another shot though, Karwick in trouble. Trying to strafe left to right. I think he popped the Berserk, trying to be fast to get the Mega Health. He's going in, lasts quite a while. Has to be careful. Got the Mega Health, but lost his ability and all the stack of the Mega Health in the process. At the very least, he denied it from wichtL, I suppose. But gets the heavy armor, so not a bad way of recovering. Unfortunately, I think going into a new map, though, and losing a champion that early on is never going to be a convenient thing by any stretch of the word, but you're pretty much forced to do so much more work in such a short space of time. It almost feels like a handicap from the get-go. I can definitely see that. That's why I'm considering how close a lot of these rounds have been, you know, especially when Karwick has been on that Doomslayer. I mean, Doomslayer just seems to be really good at just slowing down the map, and we've seen that from a lot of players today already. Being knocked onto that champion this early in a round, I mean, that's not what you want, ideally. Well, you saw it in the in-game chat, you know, Karwick was not ready. He was not ready for that rocket to come through. Still, though, wichtL quite quickly able to top up again. Now, wichtL, he's going to have to try and play this as... At least the maneuverability around the map, he's got to try and play it really quick. I think he can't afford to get caught out, and I think he knows that, right, with the little health he's got so far. This is going to always be the difficult thing when facing off against Doomslayer on Blood Run, is the fact that he has so much stack and such good movement. I feel like he can be a real bully in the middle of the map. I mean, I can definitely see it, and I mean, I think considering he kind of very quickly went from being almost picked by a lot of people to kind of on a lot of people's teams here and there to now, you know, seeing him on almost every team from every player, for the most part, at least the majority. The more you see a champion, the more you get to see the ins and outs of them.
think Doomslayer is kind of a shining example of that so far. Especially with that new adjustment he did receive. Obviously, that Berserk punches being a little bit easier to land. I think that really was a big deal. You know, you only really used to see it as a defensive way of getting away or, you know, building that space between you, but now it is straight up used as a kill tool, as well as all of its other applications.
wichtL was forced to retreat again. I think like as long as he's being forced to retreat, it's not like this is a bad situation for him. Yes, Karwick has the stack advantage. Yes, Karwick in many ways has a little bit more control as well. As long as wichtL was able to survive these confrontations, he's going to remain in the lead because he just straight up has more champions. You know, even though Doomslayer has got the maneuverability, he's got the double jump, he's got health and armor, if he's not able to actually catch up to wichtL, then I feel like wichtL might even, like, you actually see that he has no interest whatsoever in taking a fight. And he's going to keep Karwick a little bit weak, he's going to do as much damage as possible to almost make Karwick timid for attacking one of those two pickups. And then the second he's content with that, he'll then just run away for the whole round. Tries to pop his injection, does manage to do it for now. Can he get one more frag? Will Karwick survive?
How tanky? How tanky is this champion that wichtL can throw that much damage and Karwick is able to survive? Me, albeit barely, absolutely barely, but that was an insane amount of tanky damage.
That would have been very difficult. Actually, no, yeah, that's where it came from, right? It's just this rush-based playstyle. The problem is, because he's lost the Doomslayer, he's now got 1 minute to get 2 champions, and again, we're likely to see wichtL delay his respawn and go for Nyx if he's put in that situation. He may not even need to be in that situation.
I mean, still though, I just don't know if I agree with showing visible discomfort in all chat where your opponent can see it.
Because you're almost admitting to your opponent that you're frustrated, right?
I kind of feel like you're admitting weakness at that moment, right? You know, where you're basically letting them know that what you're doing is really getting on my nerves. If you're playing to win and you're playing as a competitor, you'll see that and go, okay, cool, I'll keep doing it then. You know what I mean? Unless it's that next level, he knows that he knows, so he's trying to say it to make him stop, to think, right, he's trying to fake me out here. But maybe I'm just looking a little bit too far in.
And there was that suicide. Karwick opting to be honest with you, even though you can never say never in those situations, I feel like Karwick decided right there that if the round's going skew-whiff, the best course of action was probably just to end the round as quickly as possible and start afresh, going straight into the next round.
Well, regardless, the round is now on the board and wichtL is getting that much closer to eliminating Karwick from the tournament. But, you know, understandable in this situation, you know, sort of tensions do rise and stress can get the better of you when you are in loser side. When you're playing what they're playing for, you know, this is to get to DreamHack Winter, where there is a lot of money on the line and the chance of playing with literally the best players in the world.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely understand these elements of frustration, right? Because these players are playing for a significant major tournament. There is a lot of money on the line there.
wichtL almost, he wanted to chase that, but nice turnaround from Karwick from below. That rail, that's exactly what he needs. Also taking that anarchy away from wichtL, that really was such a thorn in the side of Karwick through most of that first round, just playing that distance game style, that rushing when he wants to, but now he's taken that away. Karwick should do a lot better.
I feel like that might have actually been best case scenario for Karwick there, where he had deliberately ended the first round, assumingly just to get into the next round as fast as possible to kind of like go in with a clean slate for another time. And the first thing he's able to do is delete Anarchy from play. A champion that clearly he's, you know, uncomfortable fighting, at least, you know, in this one series. I think this was like best case scenario for him.
Still though, Karwick has all the armor, but he's going to need some health. He does get plenty, it seems.
Ooh, tries to punch, but the lock-on doesn't quite track the way it should.
Oh, he's going to know that there's no Ghost Walk, and that is going to be another frag. Karwick is taken out. A little bit of health, a little bit of armor. If Karwick can get him early, he might be able to finish off the job, but he misses a rail. That would have been huge. At least the mega health is there for him to salvage.
I definitely would have sent him out. That's unfortunate completely to miss.
You can hear him around. wichtL knows he's nearby. So the Karwick did have such a strong lead, and it's already slipping through. Let's see if we can make something work here. Knowing that Karwick is shooting out with a nail gun indicates he might not have anything better yet. At least he might not have a rocket. Oh, that miss from wichtL is huge. He's trying to use his Berserk to get away.
Whoa.
A missed rail from Karwick. No, that's a disaster.
Stuck in melee. You know, that's one of the most constant situations where you're going to be vulnerable to those rails. Very unfortunate that Karwick wasn't able to land that shot.
I guess it does happen sometimes. Karwick's Berserk is about to come off cooldown. She's going to have access to that again, as well as some extra stack on Mega Health and Heavy. So not too bad at all.
Here's Karwick with the patience, but I'm not sure wichtL, is he going to go this way?
He's waiting, and there's a nicely placed rocket from Karwick, waiting for him to come around the corner. Listen for the footsteps. Patience is a virtue. Oh, big air-to-air. Oh! Oh, that berserk is popped from Karwick just to get away as fast as possible. Does keep him alive at the very least.
Surprised to see wichtL actually miss that rail. Out of all the rails he's been landing throughout the series, that's probably one of the last ones
I think maybe he just didn't expect Karwick to pop berserk in that situation, maybe, because he did get that instant increase in speed.
I didn't expect Karwick to try and go through the teleporter. I thought almost maybe going through the teleporter would have been a little bit too predictable. You know, would have actually allowed wichtL to line up a shot quite perfectly.
Very, at least worked.
Yeah, he's alive for now. As long as they've got that 1-1 situation, then, you know, the sudden death will apply, but it's going to go beyond that 5-minute mark.
But again, it's that Doomslayer versus Doomslayer. I don't think we've seen slow rounds quite like this exact matchup. You know, even in the first series of the day, there definitely seems to be one of those, you know, playing for the long haul, you know, battle of attrition.
Speaking of the long haul,
oh, tries to get up from below, but does get taken out anyway. Unfortunate fumble on that heavy armor. You can tell Karwick wanted to... I mean, to be fair, if you can go rocket jump into double jump to reach the heavy armor from down there, that's huge. And that is really important. Unfortunately, Karwick seemed to miss it there, but that is indeed what he was attempting.
The problem is, it was missing that trick, and that put him in such a situation where he couldn't really escape, and wichtL just kind of finished the job. Unfortunately, a mistake like that has now caused Karwick to be pretty significantly behind. So now he's got 30 seconds left on this round. He has to really try and make something happen, but he might be a little bit too predictable here. wichtL is just going to try and survive. He's going to collect some health along the way. He's going to play this runaway game. You know, he's got access to his berserk. If he wants to get that speed boost from runaway, he can 100% do that. Unfortunately, I feel like that one error from Karwick in the middle of that map is pretty much likely to lose him this entire round. And in loser's bracket, that is going to be a daunting situation to be in.
I mean, only 5 seconds left to go. He can see him. wichtL just needs to run the other way. And it looks like that's exactly what he's going to do. And again, the suicide. Karwick wanting to end it on his own terms. Go into the next round as soon as possible, wasting little time. However, that does mean that wichtL is currently riding 5 rounds straight. You know, we have to remember his 3 rounds in the first map was a 3-2 comeback. He was down 2 rounds, took 3 in a row, and now he's taken these first 2. So he is 1 round away from eliminating Karwick. He has got this Anarchy back too. Karwick was able to deal with his Anarchy relatively quickly last time.
wichtL's going to be really happy sort of collecting some of those rockets on the way. Oh, did he get one direct? Huge damage!
I mean, wichtL's ability to just immediately turn around during these fights and get those perfect rockets has just been almost unrivaled, but Karwick with that nice direct, meeting him in the air that time. You know, Karwick is going to be breathing a sigh of relief there, knowing that the Anarchy is already gone.
It's been a huge issue for him. And we've seen Karwick is sort of already voice a little bit of disapproval for not only sort of the Anarchy, but the certain playstyle, right? So I think getting rid of that sort of core issue, one of the best starts you can have.
Oh, that rocket ever so slightly off the mark. That would have been huge for Karwick if that had connected.
Yeah, I think if it was just slightly more to the left, it probably would have connected.
One of the miss. These rails quite haven't been on point from Karwick. wichtL's also starting to look a little bit less crisp the longer this goes on. Still though, you know, wichtL does have the space to work with. He can afford to drop around here and there if he needs to, but you know, he's probably not going to want that ideally. Karwick, on the other hand, desperately needs to make every single frag count here. Big damage there, the double jump, giving him all the momentum. Another shot, but Karwick tanking all of it. However, he is very low. If wichtL can find him now, he will be in a lot of trouble.
And I think with that berserk being ready too, does mean that if wichtL catches him off guard, then I mean, he can beat him up if he wants to, if he can get close enough. It's a long respawn time, or cooldown time, I should say, from Karwick. Seconds going now, he has the heavy armor. He can rush if he wants to. Karwick's waiting around the corner. Yeah, so he's just trying to maintain levels of control. If he's going to take a fight, he wants to make sure he's nice and stacked for when the fight inevitably takes place.
Sees him. Oof! And it's just like miss again. wichtL. These rails beginning to let him down.
A split-second wait just in case Karwick was waiting on the other side.
But even though he isn't getting all the damage on the rails he needs, he's still able to keep Karwick at arm's length. He's keeping him away from these important power-ups, but Karwick is in the lead. You know, you can pick up all the health and armor you want. At the end of the day, if we go to 5 minutes and Karwick still has this Doomslayer, he's going to win the round on it.
It looks like Karwick's been completely content letting these power-ups go as well. He's been quite content letting wichtL have this sort of middle-of-the-map control. At the end of the day, as long as he's able to stay alive and keep his...
There's the Berserk to run away from the Berserk. There's the hesitance, doesn't want to run straight into a rocket this time, and again is able to use it to get the heavy armor.
He's looking for one more rocket. Does manage to land it, and now they're back in this even playing field. Karwick's been forced to go onto his Nyx. Caught him off guard using the Ghost Walk really early just to try and get out of that exchange alive, but that's going to be down for a significant amount of time now.
Ultimately, though, that can be a problem if you willingly just concede heavy and mega all the time. If that person eventually decides to just seek you out and hunt you down and force you to fight, you're inevitably always going to be lower. And there we go, 2 well-placed rockets, 1 direct and 1 big amount. Karwick just doesn't sound like he just has the confidence at the moment.
Yeah, I think there's been some visual frustration, right? I mean, you can't count him out. Ranger can definitely make these 2 comebacks, and Karwick has been playing really well in this series already.
I don't want to say it's impossible, but what concerns me is that it does seem like Karwick's already just checked out. Obviously, to mount a comeback, you do have to have a degree of confidence, and it's not really seeming like Karwick has much of that at the moment. But he's still playing, you know, he hasn't given up. He hasn't suicided, he hasn't conceded, he is still playing it out.
I feel like if we see him get around on the table, then we might start to see some of that confidence almost return to him.
Hopefully. Still, though.
I mean, by no means could you count this guy out. However, with 20 seconds left of this round, he's got to make something happen, and that's why Karwick tries to chase it down. Walks into a rocket too, and he commits suicide again, 3 rounds in a row. Unfortunately, just finishing the job before wichtL had to really do anything right there.
I mean, wichtL, I'm sure wichtL will take that. That does mean that wichtL is that 1 round closer to qualifying for DreamHack Winter. We have to remember that was losers bracket action, so unfortunately, that does mean that he is eliminated now. But wichtL will move on anyway through the losers side, where he will have to continue to fight through. But ultimately, every step closer you can get is a good step, especially when he started the first map on such a deficit as well.
Definitely. I think he can feel really good about that. He's been doing well and playing really strongly in this losers bracket. I think when you're in the losers bracket, you've got to try and make sure you're playing at your absolute best because there are no more safety nets. Again, try and remind some of you guys at home, you know, losers bracket for this final qualification week. That's it. And if you get eliminated from this tournament, there are no more chances to get back into DreamHack Winter. Personally, Karwick, I think he was a little bit, especially in that final round, I think voicing some of that obvious frustration might have given wichtL a little bit of data of, you know, what I'm doing is clearly frustrating you. And also a couple of those suicides, I'm not sure. You know, if it's only a 5-minute round, like, just pile in. You're playing as Ranger, you never know. You never know. You could maybe just get 1 good rocket and a dire orb, and there you go. You've evened things back out. I think with 20 seconds left, I think the final suicide probably wasn't necessary.
I think so, but he is eliminated, and that is where his DreamHack Winter journey will end for now, unfortunately. But we have plenty of more matches up and coming, and while we get them ready to go, we're going to go to another quick break, so don't go anywhere.